So today we'll meet three wonderful mentors from the Jewellers Academy community, and they mentor on the Silver Diploma, the Fine Diploma, and the Advanced Diploma. So we do have two other diplomas which we're not sharing about today because 5 diplomas in one go is a lot. But a lot of the things will apply across the board. But really we're focusing on the Silver, the Fine, and the Advanced today. So we are joined by the wonderful Sally Howe, who is going to be representing Silver Diploma. Hi, Sally. And then we have the lovely Iain Sainsbury, who is going to be talking about the Fine Diploma. Hi, Iain.
Hello.
And last but not least, we have the incredible Anelia Kuprina, who is going to be sharing the Advanced Diploma. Awesome. So yeah, sit back, relax, enjoy. And of course, you can feel free to ask questions as well. There's a chat bar. So if there's anything that you want to ask about as we go through the session, we'll be very happy to put that to the mentors as well. But to kick off, we wanted to share a bit about the journeys behind the mentors, because one of the most amazing things about doing a diploma program is that you get to build a relationship with someone who has gone before you, who has trained as a jeweler, who makes and sells their jewelry, and who can share their experience, some of their hope, and also some of the challenges that they had, and just really be a supportive kind of space to go to throughout the year. When you're doing a diploma program, you'll meet with your mentor 6 times throughout the year, 1-to-1 on Zoom, and you'll also have fortnightly sessions with them in a group where you can kind of get support and encouragement and ask questions and all the things. So Sally, I'm going to start with you if that's okay. I'd love you to share a bit about your jewelry making journey, how you came to be making jewelry, and just a little bit about yourself and why you love jewelry.
Okay, so I used to be a graphic designer, and then I trained to be a teacher. And when my children were very small, I decided that I wanted to have something for me. And I think when you've got little children, you need something to sort of stretch your brain. So that's why I decided to do it. I decided to go to evening classes and learn how to make jewellery. And I've never stopped. I love it. And I really love combining my teaching with my jewellery making. So I think it's one of those things that, yeah, it's great fun being able to make something yourself from just materials like wire and sheet. It's just very incredible, really. I still love it.
Absolutely. And I think you're so right. Like, I can definitely relate to when you've got a lot going on, whether it's like small children or caring duties or whatever, and it's like, okay, I need to carve out some time for myself to be creative, to explore something that I love. And jewelry making, there's just endless possibilities. I feel like there's a lifetime worth of exploration.
Definitely. Well, my children are now adults, so yeah, there's definitely a lifetime worth of experience to be had, and it never gets dull because there's always something new to learn.
Absolutely. And so you started with evening classes, and then did you start making and selling right away, or
not right away?
Journey. Yeah.
I started making and gifting first of all, and then I realized that actually people were asking me for things as well as me giving them. So friends and family got given presents, but then I decided that I would actually need to sell things. So that's when I launched my business. So I'd been making for quite a long time before I started launching the business. So started my business in 2015.
Amazing. And can you tell us a bit about your business today, what you do and where you're based, and a little overview?
Yeah, I'm based in Yorkshire. My business is called How Fine Designs, and I mostly make commissions and do workshops, and particularly wedding ring workshops. And I just did one on the weekend, which is the 50th birthday celebration. So 9 people came and made their rings, and yeah, rings and bangles actually. So that was good fun.
Oh, lovely. Amazing. Yeah. And I think what's really nice about your business journey is that you've got such a hybrid of things. So you make and sell jewelry, you do the workshops, you do the wedding ring workshops, you also do the mentoring at Jewellers Academy. And it's nice to see when you're at the beginning of a jewelry journey, there's not just one way to build a jewelry business. You may end up with a hybrid and a mixture, and actually a lot of jewelers enjoy that because you get different things from different areas, don't you?
I think it'd probably be easier just to do one, but actually I love doing all of them. So I think for me it suits me down to the ground because I love all of the different parts and I don't really want to give up any of them.
Absolutely. And being a jeweler full time can be quite a solitary kind of experience, which some people enjoy. But I think the teaching and the workshops and the events, and I know you've done like pop-up shops and things in the past as well, are a great way if you want to be a bit more sociable some of the time to get out there. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's one of the lovely things about the course as well. You can meet other people in the Zoom calls and things. It's so good.
Yeah, great networking. Great to just hang out with other jewelers and talk about jewelry.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. All right. Thank you, Sally. So we'll come on to Iain next. So Iain, tell us a bit about your journey into jewelry making.
So I had a very unconventional entry into jewelry making. I spent 20 years in the pharmaceutical industry. I was a PhD scientist and completely burnt out in 2018. And whilst I was recovering from that whole mess, I, of all things, started repairing cutthroat razors, straight razors. Always wanted to shave. And I discovered copper jewelry whilst I was doing this. I made a little copper heart for my wife for our copper wedding anniversary, and I started making various little bits. And I thought I've got to get better at this. I'm enjoying it. So I tried down the old YouTube route. It didn't really go well with me, and then I end up discussing this with Jess. I I don't know how he came across you. I came across you on a I think it was Instagram, and we had a sort of an email conversation, and so I ended up being in the sort of first tranche, so to speak, of the Fine Diploma. So yeah, I had a very unconventional route in, but it's been really quite fun and a real different journey for me after 20 years of global jobs and all sorts of weird stuff that I used to do.
And I think, Iain, your journey is quite inspirational, isn't it? Because often people say, like, is it too late to start a jewelry business? Like, I wish I'd done this when I was younger, or, there's some kind of preconception of how and when and where it should come about. But what's really lovely about you is once you found jewelry, you're just like threw yourself 100% in. And
Yeah.
you've done so much in a really short space of time. Like, you've only had your jewelry business for a few years and it's already very established. So tell us about your business journey and how that kind of went alongside your making.
Yeah, so it's I mean, as Jess was saying, it's been a bit of sort of a straight into a sprint immediately. I found out fairly early on that I really liked making fine jewelry, and I sort of had a good idea about, well, having come from a business background, a good idea about sort of the business side of things, but not my own business. And so setting up what was originally Iain Sainsbury, I didn't even have a name at one point. But so Iain Sainsbury Designs it became. It's now Iain Sainsbury Bespoke Jewellery. So you can kind of see where I ended up. And it was a case of I started off just making simple things, simple pieces, but pretty quickly I found that I was very much drawn to Art Deco, brutalist architecture, things like that, and I loved making things with sand casting, and so it all kind of melded together. And I've subsequently sort of that's the area I focused on. There's not many people doing what I do in the country, and it is one of those things that if you find your niche, it's really good. I've recently rebranded, which has been a whole different story, but it is one of those things that uh, it's been a bit of a whirlwind, because going from a standing start to having a business I started in 2020. I did stuff in this Fine Diploma, and it's 2026 now. I've had the business going for will be 4 years this year. I've been to various shows. I've got more lined up this year, galleries, things like that. So it's been a really, really busy time. And if you told me I was be doing this now in 2018, I just wouldn't have believed it. But it really is. It is amazing what you can achieve when you put your mind to it. I mean, the last thing I made before I started making jewelry and all the rest of it was a small copper spoon when I was 16 in the metalwork classroom at school. I hadn't done anything since. So it doesn't matter where you start. If you commit yourself a little bit to it, then I'm sure you'll be able to achieve what you want to.
Yes, absolutely. I think it is, it's great. Your journey is a great example of someone who found something and just went for it and has done so much. And along the way made a lot of mistakes in terms of like the making in the diplomas. I think that's the important thing. Not you personally, Iain,
but
no,
I make lots of mistakes.
The projects multiple times sometimes. So I think it's really good to say that and to highlight it, that it's not just, sometimes people look at someone else and think, well, they kind of are just naturally good at it, but actually it's all the hours that you put in as well, isn't it? And tennis bracelet, we'll come to it in a bit, but bracelet was made multiple times by Iain. For the tennis bracelet project, just for context, you don't actually have to make the full bracelet. We do teach you how to do it in the Fine Diploma, but you can just make 6 links and show us that you know how to do it. How many tennis bracelets did you make, Iain?
3. And they're like 30 odd links each time, which doesn't sound a lot until you start making it. And then there are quite a lot of links in there. Yeah.
So lots of perseverance and lots of growth there. So yeah, very exciting. And Anelia, I would love you to come and share a bit about your jewelry journey and your experience in the jewelry industry.
Yeah, it's been a very long journey for me. I can hardly remember the beginning now. It's been so long ago. Well, depends how far back you want. But I worked like in the UK. I worked in. I did my degree in goldsmithing, silversmithing, jewelry design. Then I worked in different companies, at different capacities. From the wholesalers, like a basic assembly jobs, and then my last job was in Notting Hill for one designer lady, like very high-end pieces. I worked in Heart and Garden for a few years. So I have a very production-based sort of background in terms of jewelry making. And it was it was a long journey. It was many years for me. And a few years back, I started working for myself. I mostly do bespoke pieces, and I work along the fine jewelry sort of style, fine jewelry designs. It's not that something I planned or I wanted to do. It's just how it led me into that field. And so I'm doing bespoke, I'm doing remodeling, also do all kind of repairs, alterations. So just like all the normal workshop jewelry stuff. It's not very glamorous. I wouldn't say like I have my brand or anything like that as yet, but I do get clients, and they like what I do. They like my ideas, and it's very great to to have that relationships. I'm probably one of those jewelers who enjoy working in solitude, like Jess said. Some people like that. So some teaching on the diplomas is a really welcome distraction from the solitude that it does get too much, even though I enjoy it. And it's great to see how much students can learn and how much they can achieve, even in a space of 1 year, which is, it's a big learning curve, but you can achieve a lot, and the courses are very intense. I feel that it's very well structured, but you have to focus on the timeline very much, and like not to leave it all to the last moment, like regardless what diploma you are doing. And so yes, so at the moment I'm doing my own practice, and I do a bit of teaching. I worked with Jewellery Academy for many years. I think Iain was one of my students as well. Yes. In the past, yes. I'm based in London, and yeah, that's all about me, I guess.
Awesome. Yes. And I think what's really interesting about you and Anelia, which is different to the other two jewelers' journeys, is you didn't start with your own business, you started in the trade. So you've got so much experience, like making pieces to a specific order to a specific kind of specification, and your technical ability is just, I don't know anyone who is so technical, which is amazing. Everything I ask Anelia to do, she does it, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, I'm in awe. And everyone always says Anelia's work is incredible. I know she's going to blush at this because nobody likes all the compliments, but absolutely, you know, precision is there. And Anelia teaches across all of our diploma programs as well. Most of them, not the metal play, but all the sort of technical pieces. So we're very lucky to have you, Anelia, and it's really inspiring to see the kind of pieces you can make. And I think what's nice as well is you break things down. You don't make that, you're very straight with people about how, like, it's going to take time, it's going to take work, but this is how you do it. And I think I really appreciate that, because you're not saying this is easy, but you're saying you can do this and this is how you do it, and you very much guide people along that journey. So exciting. All right, well, thank you guys for introducing yourselves. And we have, Anna has put everyone's websites and info. Definitely go open them, check them out, you know, after the session, or just save them for later, because it's really nice to learn about the jewelers and look at jewelers' journeys, because one day this could be you up here sharing, perhaps you'll be one of our mentors, sharing about your experience and when you started and what you've been doing. So yeah, we love seeing people go through that kind of growth. So let's move on to talking a bit about the diploma program. So perhaps each of you could share about the program that you mentor on, what it's like, and what it's like from a mentor's point of view, what you appreciate as a mentor. So Sally, I'm going to always pick on you first, as we're going to just keep the order. But I know you've got this. So Silver Diploma, which is our 1-year course for people who can start as an absolute beginner, or they may have made jewelry for a while, but they are just ready to commit to learning, developing, and growing. What's it like being a mentor? And tell us a bit about the Silver Diploma.
I absolutely love being a mentor. It's one of my favourite things I do. It is incredible when people come in with, some of them have some quite considerable skills, but some of them have no skills whatsoever. Some of them have never picked up a saw in their lives before. Really, we have to go through all of the tools and everything, but the videos explain everything so that they know what to do. We have a Facebook group, and actually the mentoring meetings are really good fun, because we've got a really lovely relationship, because you stay with the group together for the whole of the year. So each term you're staying with your group, and it's really good. You can share the ups, the downs, the highs, the lows. And if somebody's done something that's really, really lovely, and they want to share that, that's brilliant. If somebody's having issues with something, we can help them work out what to do. It's just really supportive, and really it's good fun. And it's amazing how quickly people pick up the skills from not knowing what to do in the beginning. It's incredible. Every year it still amazes me.
Yeah, and you have a group, don't you? So you meet one-to-one with all your mentees, but you also have, like you said, the fortnightly groups. Yes. What do you guys talk about in those sessions? What's it like?
We have a facilitator who goes through the marking criteria with me, and then we sort of point out anything that might be problematic or they should know about when we're going through the marking criteria. And then everybody gets a chance to ask their own questions. So if they've got a question about the week we're on, or previous week even, they can ask whatever they want to do and get some guidance. So if they've had a bit of an issue with something, or they want a bit of help soldering or sawing or anything like that, and they just can ask whatever they want to, and there's no such thing as a silly question. Absolutely no such thing. So if you're thinking it, somebody else might be thinking it, and often somebody says, can you tell me a bit more about that, and why do we do this? And once we explain to them, they're like, and somebody else goes, oh, I'm glad you asked that, because I was going to ask that. So it's really good natured and very sort of nurturing and supportive, but we can go through things that anybody's finding a little bit tricky.
Absolutely. And I love what you shared about there's no such thing as a silly question. And I think that's so important across all the diplomas as well, because sometimes when you get to advanced, you think, well, I should know this. But we all have little gaps, don't we? Or sometimes it's just a reminder, like, oh, what's this again? Or what's that again? And I think you're right that it's so great when people have the courage to come forward and say, so what is this? So how do you do that? Because somebody else will be there thinking, oh yes, okay, I'm glad someone asked this. And even if someone else knows the answer, the mentor might answer in a different way.
Absolutely, that as well. There's no one way of doing anything. And actually, one of the benefits of having the different mentors is you learn lots of different methods. So if you were just training with one person, you would only know that way. Whereas actually, the biggest benefit, I think, with having the videos, you can replay them, you can just find out how different jewelers work. It's amazing.
Absolutely, and try on the bits that you like. And I feel like I've heard that people talk a lot about tools in the sessions as well.
Oh yeah.
We all love tools.
Definitely. Yeah, we were always talking about tools, but you know what? I always think it's good to have a new tool if it's going to make something easier, make your job faster, or make you more money. So don't go just buying all the tools just for no reason. That is exactly what I say on the call.
Yeah. That's what we say.
Yeah, I
know. But yes, I agree with you. It's a considered investment. But yeah, brilliant. Okay, well, thank you for sharing, Sally. We'll come back in a bit more detail. So, Iain, tell us about the Fine Diploma and what it's like being a mentor on the Fine Diploma.
So I have a bit of a unique perspective on it, having been through both the Fine and the Advanced. So having done it as a student as well as now being a mentor on it, it's brilliant. I echo completely what Sally says. I love making things, but even in my past life, my past career, I did a lot of educational pieces, and I love being a mentor because it's very much sort of like peer-to-peer learning. It is a lot of learning from each other, but also working with people to help them problem solve. The further on you get in your jewelry business, the further you get on in your sort of experience of jewelry, the problems don't go away. There's always going to be something you're sitting there going, I have no idea how to do this. I've watched the videos, I'm still struggling. Don't worry, everybody's been there. And as Sally was saying, there's loads of ways of doing the same thing. And what you'll find is that, certainly from my perspective as a mentor, I've learnt the way that's been shown within the videos, but I've then looked at things and said, well, how would I make that? And there's a lot of that goes on, which is the interactive. It's not always one solution to everything. And it is a great conversation, sort of long-term conversation to discuss how people make things. When we have the group sessions, I had one earlier on today. I'm terrible for overrunning on them. I apologize all the times that people are sort of like, I just chat on. But it's a case of within those sessions, we talk about the criteria, but the projects, because they're quite complex, some of them, and they go on multiple weeks, it's a chance, even the people who say they're not behind, they have a chance to sort of like go over some of the issues that they've had, and some people have already encountered them and can talk about them. And it's a really nice of collaborative discussion that goes on over the course of those sessions. They're great fun. Everybody's really friendly. There's, as Sally was saying, there's no stupid questions. And it's one of those environments where it's some people just have no luck with one project, and it's great to be able to share that. But also, then somebody might have a way of that they've come up with that helps, or we can help, or we can advise them about, have you tried this? And it is one of those things that, because it's interactive, because it's not just sort of sitting looking at a video, you get that two-way flow, and it just really helps with everybody. And they're sort of then augmented by the one-to-ones. So no, it's great. So rambling on, as you can tell, I'm terrible at doing this. Being a mentor is one of the most fun things. I love doing it. I hope everybody doesn't get bored by me chatting, but yeah, I love doing it. It's great fun.
We do, Iain. We love hearing from you because you're not rambling, you're sharing stuff. And I think what's really nice with all the mentors, is that they share about their journey as well, and the same with the students. So like you mentioned, that peer-to-peer learning, it's one thing having a course and following it, but that assumes that everything's just going straight to plan, and that's not how life is it? It's the struggles, the ups and downs. And I think sometimes people just come on and say, I haven't done it, and there's like 5 other people who are like, me neither, and suddenly everyone's like, oh, it's okay that we've not done it yet, like we can work on it together, we can start chipping away and normalizing the challenges. And this is the same when you're a jeweler and when you have a jewelry business and somebody has ordered something from you, and you told yourself you're going to make it today, but the day's gone and you're like, oh gosh, I need to do it tomorrow. And it's all these kind of things around the technical making, isn't it, that we need, and that kind of support and that community. And I think that's something that we've seen work so well with the diplomas. Before we introduced the diplomas online, we sold individual courses and lots of people signed up, but unfortunately not that many of them finished, because it's a bit like getting a book from a library. You have every intention to read it, and then the weeks go and you think, oh gosh, I've not read that. But where there's a group of 20 other people that you're meeting every couple of weeks saying, so how did you get on, and what's going on, and that accountability and that support, it makes such a big difference. And we have a really high completion rate with our diplomas. It's something like 99%. So I agree with you. I think that the peer-to-peer aspect, as well as the mentoring, it's like you feel part of something, which I think is
oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean that just to echo that, I mean the people that I met on both of the diplomas I did, I mean I've met a number of them in person. A bit more difficult for my group at the moment because about a third of them are based all around the world. But for the people that I've kept in sort of contact with, who we did our diplomas together. We've met up at shows, we've met up and it's one of those things that it is a community, and I think that's one of the key things that drives that sort of commitment and that completion rate, is because people work together, and I think that's really important.
Absolutely. We all need a bit of cheerleading and cheering on at some of the time, especially in the winter months, I feel like. Yeah. Brilliant. All right. Anelia, do you want to share a bit about the advanced diploma? So obviously things are taken up a level. Each year they go up a level. Tell us a bit about the advanced and what it's like being a mentor on that program.
Okay, so I'll talk a little bit about the diploma first. I think it's structured very well. It's based on building up on skills that you already learned on the previous diplomas. And the projects that are on the diploma, they are quite challenging. Even people who have a lot of jewelry making experience, they do find them challenging. But at the same time, you learn a lot and you build your confidence. It's like a next level, because after when you see the samples, and many students, they think, oh, I never thought I could make something like that. And then, a couple of weeks later, you got that piece in your hands. So it's a big push. It's very intense, but you have a lot of stone setting courses, like different stone setting techniques. We do pave, we do rub over, we have kinetic jewelry there. So it's many different techniques explored on this course, and also I think it's nicely balanced with some very creative and playful projects. We have a brooch project, which is from different materials. We have catwalk project, and I think it's quite nice to put your brain off a little bit of that really technical, precision drilling and marking, to something playful. So I think it's a nice balance of different pieces that you'll have to make. I really like working with the students, because even though it's for advanced skills, people with advanced skills, but still everyone comes there with a different level. And those who are very confident, I think they enjoy very much, and they have a lot of flexibility to create something that they would enjoy. They may choose their own stones to work with, so it becomes a little bit more personal, a little bit more individual. And those people who are still learning, they're getting a great set of skills and a lot of confidence. So I think it would work for, for anyone who has a solid benchworking skills. It's a good step forward. Very important is like time management, I feel. And what I noticed that students, they do feel a lot of pressure, even though it's advanced and everyone knows all the tools. They know how to hold the saw blade, they know all the different torches they can use for soldering. It's a lot of knowledge about, it's sort of like knowledge about materials, about different ways you can do things, but still people find it challenging. So for that reason, we also have group calls. We also have, Facebook support group, and it's very much needed as well, even for people who do have a lot of experience, because I think there are lots of challenges. And like Iain was saying, like Sally was saying, the group support is very, very important. I think at any stage of your like career or work or your learning, and we have it on advanced diploma as well. What else can I say? I think you'll need to expand on your tool set quite a lot. But then it's great because you have more techniques at your hands. You don't have to use all of them, but it's a very good introductory projects that you can decide whether it's something you could explore in more depth, in future, or you are quite happy with what you already have. So it just helps you to clarify the direction, I suppose, where you're going. And we have an amazing final end of year project. It's a engagement ring and wedding ring set, which I think is really great. And it's amazing to see how creative the students get. That's one of my favorite parts, to see the end of year projects, because that's where students' true personalities, they come to the surface through their work, and all the skills that they learned. And you've probably seen, I don't know if they have been posted yet, the past works of the students from the diploma. They're absolutely incredible. And as a mentor, I feel so proud of them, because it's a lot to achieve, and to work distantly, I think it's a challenge on its own. It doesn't matter how experienced you are, it is a challenge. And I think everyone is just doing really, really great. Really great. I would just say that I always tell my students, don't be disheartened if something doesn't work out for you how you expect, because for most of you, for absolute majority of you, it's the very first time that you would be attempting to do something like that, or you would be trying this technique the very first time in your life. So the chances are it's not going to go perfect, but I always encourage to go to the end anyway, or as far as you can, because it doesn't matter doesn't matter how it looks in the end, but you're going to learn all the stages. You're going to go through all the stages. And then if you're making it second time, trust me, it would be like almost a perfect piece. I mean, depending what kind of techniques, but generally, yes. So don't be disheartened by that. It is very challenging, but, you can do it. Everyone has it done, right? Jess? So
yes, we get you there. You will do it. Yeah. I think that's what's really nice. I love what you shared, Anelia, and I think it's amazing to see students also start at the silver and go all the way through to advanced. Like that is an incredible thing to see, because it's 3 years of training, but the skill level at the end of those 3 years is just incredible. It takes many jewelers a decade or more to get to that level, and I think it's every year there's amazing progression, but especially a lot of people who complete the advanced started with us at silver. Not everyone, some people come in at different levels. And I feel like as well, most people don't know they're going to get to advanced. They just think, well, I'll just do this one. We'll see. I'll probably stop after this one. And then they're like, I just want to do the next one. And then, with the advanced, it's like, oh, I don't know if I could do it. And the imposter syndrome that can come up as well with jewelers. I think even the fact that it's called advanced, and there's so many incredible, very advanced jewelers that if you ask them if they were advanced, would say, oh, no, I don't think I am. But what's really nice is, because that one course leads into the other, all you have to do, obviously it's quite a lot of hard work, but all you have to do is just keep going. And I love what Anelia shared around kind of perfectionism. I think that most jewelers are perfectionists and we're very self-critical. You know, it could have been better, especially with our little optivisors on and we're looking super close at everything. We're like, I can see all the little things that have gone wrong, and that doesn't really go away. In fact, I feel like that gets bigger as you get more advanced, as you just see more. But we all know the truth that actually perfection doesn't exist. Of course, we want to get things to be neat, we want to get them to be professional, but it's also learning that element of, okay, it's done now, that's enough, it is good enough, you know, especially with handmade jewelry, because it's never going to be machine made, it's made by you, and that doesn't mean that you're not going to do an amazing job and it's not going to be professional. But I think especially in the advanced levels, a lot of what the mentors are doing is just saying, yes, you're doing it right, yes, you are a jeweler, yes, you know, kind of almost helping with that imposter syndrome. And that's huge, because most jewelers learning on their own, they don't have that sort of feedback loop. And we'll come on to talking about the marking next, but I think one of the amazing things about the marking is you send your work to us. So your mentors will hold your jewelry in their hands. And what a lot of students have said is there is great feedback and things that they can work on. But a lot of the time, one of the most useful things is for someone to say, yes, this is great. You've done it. Tick. Correct. You could sell this. This is professional jewelry. And yeah, if you're self-critical or if you do have a perfectionist streak, having that external validation that what you're doing is of the right quality is so important as well. Especially if you get any mean customers, which most of us don't, but you know, occasionally. So it's good to feel like you've got backup and support. So yeah, thank you, Anelia, for sharing a bit about the advance. That's brilliant. Sally, would you mind sharing a bit about the marking and how that works, especially from your point of view, like what you're looking for? And I guess one of the main things that we often share is it's not something to worry about, but maybe you can tell a bit from your experience.
Yeah, definitely. The lovely thing is when I open up the parcels and the other mentors, it's quite exciting to see what everybody's done, because obviously you've been talking to them, and when you actually get the pieces of jewellery in front of you, it's just brilliant to be able to see exactly what they've done and actually being able to say what has been good about it as well as what could be improved. I think saves a lot of time. And I think rather than making it over and over, which I think is otherwise tempting, it's actually really useful to get the feedback. And people have said that that is really useful because then they know what to do next time to make it even better. So I think don't worry about if it's not quite right. Just do your best in the time you've got with the materials got, etc. And don't worry, because mistakes are how you learn. And actually, there's a lot that's gone right, even if you were only seeing the mistakes.
Yes, absolutely. And I think something you sort of touched on there, and we've been talking about in general, is we know that this is the first time you're making this thing.
Yeah.
So we're not expecting it to be the best version of this ever, especially with the silver. I mean, with all of them, but especially with the silver, where with the silver, you've got almost a project every week. So there's not time to make loads of them. You just got to make one, move on. I know some people on here are on the silver at the moment, so you can probably relate to make it, move on, you know, but that's intentional because it's about sort of moving forwards. With the fine and the advanced, there's a few more weeks, so you could do a couple of those. Yeah. But even you might need to do 10 goes before you get it perfect with some of the more advanced things. And that's okay as well. So yeah, the sort of the feedback loop that you talked about is so important, but also that we're not there. We're not looking for perfection.
No, we're also looking for positive things. So if we can see evidence of that, you get the marks for it. If it's excellent, then you get all of the marks for it, sort of thing. So it's kind of, there is a marking scheme which we don't need to go into now, but if there's evidence of certain levels, then we can reward you with that mark. So
yeah, and I think the marking scheme is so helpful, again, not to be scary and not to make it pressurized, but to say like, oh, I got top marks for soldering, but my polishing, I lost a mark there. So then you know, okay, I'm strong on my soldering, but I need to work on my polishing, or vice versa. And same with stone setting. And it's nice to see over the course of the year what are your strengths and what are the areas that you need to work on. So yeah, super helpful.
And there's definitely that progression as well, particularly in the silver. You can see that the progression week to week is amazing, really. So it's fabulous.
Yes. Awesome. Thanks, Sally. And Iain, tell us a bit about marking for you. And I guess you've got the student and the mentor's perspective, but maybe you can share a bit about the marking journey and the Fine Diploma.
I've got to say, I mean, this last term that went, it's the first time I've marked this diploma. And it was absolutely, as Sally said, it's fascinating when you get everybody's packages in, because everybody sends everything in, and you start opening them and you look at them, and it's just wonderful because a lot of people, when you have that first conversation at the very beginning of term one, they're like, well, I don't know if I can do this, and actually you look at the pieces at the end, and yeah. A lot of people can. Everybody's going to have areas where you sit there and go, well, it could be better if you'd done this. But even, I mean, I look at my stuff. I've still got my pieces from when I did it as a student, and I look at it and go, well, I could have done better there, couldn't I? And it is one of those things that you look at the pieces, and I mean, from my perspective, when I'm looking at stuff and marking it, I'm looking at it from a fine jewelry perspective. So I'm looking at it and saying, what would this be if I was to give this to a customer? What would they think of it? And so it's one of those things that when I'm marking through, I'm looking at it from that perspective. But then I'm more importantly is where are things improvable? Where are things needing that little bit of a nudge to focus on? And the majority of the one-to-ones that I did with the people in my group afterwards, I spent just going through how to improve polishing, how to improve soldering, why soldering doesn't work the way you think it does sometimes, and it's that interactive one-to-one, which is so important, because it's one thing to have a group discussion or a one-to-one when you've never seen something that somebody's made and given to you, and you can look at it in the physical form. It's another thing when I've got what you've made in front of me, I can look at it through a loop and say, right, the reason why the soldering here isn't exactly right is because of this. And you can tell as you get experience, you can see these things. And so it's really a chance to sort of take a step back from the project itself and say, right, where have things gone really well? And my word, there are some people who I look at their pieces and I think, I couldn't do it that well. And it is one of those things that I'm constantly amazed at the people we have in the standards. There's so many different standards, but everybody has come to learn. And one of the things that when I look through it, some of these things you look at it and you think, well, this is a really obvious thing here, but why did you do it that way? And it is just a learning experience. So I find it fascinating. I find it intriguing to see how people approach problems, but also then to discuss with them around what we could do to work to make it better and what to look for next time when we're coming through. And as Sally was saying, even in a term, you can see the progression from the beginning to the end of the term of pieces. And I suppose going back and looking at my stuff when I was a student, I can see it now. And I can see the difference between when I did the fine and the advanced. And it really is, you keep on progressing. And I think that's one of the important things is it's not like and it's coming back to a point you made a minute ago, Jess. The one of the main things I think people benefit from is having that, I have to send this in, I have to do the piece, therefore I'm going to get this finished. And as a result, people complete projects rather than not completing them. And I think that's the important thing. I think a lot of people benefit from that. And certainly when it comes to multiple week projects, it really helps, because it's just, you know, you've got to send something in. It may not be perfect. It doesn't matter. It's a learning experience. None of us make things perfectly.
Yeah, and it reminds me of the phrase, what you shared, Iain, how do you get better at making jewelry is you make more of it. And really our main goal, of course, is teaching you and encouraging you, but is to just get them done. And I share about this a lot because I found it really interesting, but they did a study, it was with pottery actually, but similar things apply, where they asked a group of students they had 3 months and they had to make one pot, and it needed to be the best pot they could possibly make. And the other group of students, they said, every week for the next 3 months, you need to make a pot, and it doesn't matter how good it is. And they compared the final pot with the one pot. And by a million miles off, the people who made the pots every week were a hugely higher standard than the people who they said, right, you've got 3 months, go and make a pot, because actually pressure and time doesn't help. But practice and consistency and finishing and doing bad versions and doing good versions and just keep going is what really grows the skills. So that we really see that in the diplomas. It's not about every piece being amazing. It's about making and keep making and learning and growing your confidence that way.
And that's so true, because I mean, I'm working on a commission at the moment, and the first thing I do is I actually build a prototype of it. It's for a wedding ring, and I'm making it in silver. And the reason you do that is so that you can do it, but also B, you know that you've done it, therefore you can do it better next time. And I think that's one of those things that it's the repetitiveness, but also the just that learning through muscle memory, through doing things time and time again. It makes such a difference.
Absolutely. Love that. Awesome. Anelia, do you want to come and share a bit about your experience of marking on the advanced diploma? Because on the advanced diploma, some things get very small and technical, although some things are quite big as well. But yeah, tell us what it's like when you get your students' parcels and what you look for.
It's the opportunity to connect with the students when we see their work in front of us, like all mentors. With advanced diploma, it's a lot of settings, so it's no way like when someone is showing their work on the screen, for example, when we're talking or we have a Zoom call, you just can't see what's going on. So it's very, very important for us to get it and to have a close look, even with the loop. And actually, when you have the pieces in front of you, you can read backwards what was happening, how the students was working, how, what tools have been used, what tools haven't been used. So you can get quite a lot of feedback from sending even unfinished piece. Like I always encourage students, if for some reason that it's not quite done, you send it anyway, because as a mentors, we are able to read what's happening there, and we are able to tell if something needs to be done better or if something needs to pay attention to. And yeah, it's just the feedback. Obviously you are getting your marks, but it's indication, it's for the feedback. It's not to like to make you stressed or anything like that. So it's a conversation, it's a reflection of what you've done, it's a reflection of your skills. And obviously, if we can help you with advice, we will.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you, Anelia. I love that. And I think something that you spoke about and Iain also spoke about is just the importance of seeing the work up close. And we really learned this when we ran the diplomas in person. So originally, not everyone knows, but originally we ran these, not exactly the same ones, but we ran jewelry diplomas in person in London Jewellery School, which is where we kind of originated from before Jewellers Academy. And I remember the first kind of markings where I'd look at the students' work and say like, oh, this has worked really well and this hasn't. And when we were taking it online, it was so important for us to keep that, because I just know how valuable it is. And I know the students would always get a bit nervous. In person, you actually, well, you used to, we've changed it now, but you used to watch them mark your work with a loop in front of you. And you can just feel the students like holding their breath, like, oh gosh, please don't see the imperfections. We now have time to mark it first and then share about it afterwards, just to reduce the students' stress levels. But even though you're nervous, most of the time actually it's really good what people are saying, and you've actually done better than you think. Like 9 times out of 10, you've done better than you think, and actually you already know the areas that you need to work on, but perhaps you don't know how. And it gives the mentors an opportunity to say, I see what's happening here. I know I've seen this before, and this is the remedy. This is the solution. This is something you could try. So that's what really speeds up the learning process. And I think that's why students often report that the growth that they experience in just 1 year in whatever diploma they do is crazy, like a crazy amount of growth. It's a mixture of you guys' work and our work and kind of everything coming together, and it just creates the great solution. So yes, okay, we have just a few moments left, so I have 2 questions I'm going to put into one. They're very different questions, quick fire round. So the first is, what's your favorite project from your diploma? Just to, hear about some of the projects. And also, what advice would you give to someone who's thinking about joining your diploma starting this September? So Sally, maybe you can kick us off with favorite project and advice for students.
I actually love the box project, the trinket box project, because they're doing that at the moment. It's not why I love it, but it's because they've learned all the skills to put the box together, but they've got this real design flair. So they're all so different. And even though you've got the constraints of the project, you've also got a bit of freedom. So it means that you can express whatever you want to do on the box. So it's working at a reasonable size, but also in the future you can scale it back as well. So there's lots of possibilities. And I've got to also say rivets and tube setting in the first term as well. I love that project because everybody has some different outcomes. Sneak a different one.
Yes, I think they're both very creative ones as well, aren't they? Where people can really put their own spin on it, which is nice. Brilliant, Sally. And what advice would you give to someone who's signing up for starting the Silver Diploma this September?
Believe you can do it, because you will be able to. I think the main thing is actually, do you want to do it? Why do you want to do it? And just do it.
Just go for it. I love that. I love believing you can do it, because I think that's half the battle, isn't it? If you set your mind to it and you say, right, I'm just going to go for it, you'll get there for sure.
Absolutely. Anything is possible.
Love that. Love the positivity as well, Sally. Brilliant. Iain, so what is your favourite project from the Fine Diploma? And then we can go on to what advice you'd give to students.
I've got a lot of projects I like a lot. Of course, you'd like me to say the tennis bracelet. That was a lot of fun. But the one I really liked is the clustering that they do, because it's one of those. I remember when I started the diploma myself, I looked at them and thought, "There's no way I'm ever going to make that, never." And I made 2 of them, and it's great. It's one of those projects that you can build up to, and I think that's the thing that anybody taking on the diploma, the Fine Diploma, everything in it is doable. Everything in it is achievable. You're probably not going to get it first time. Nobody ever does, but by the end of it, you'll be able to do it, and we'll walk you through it. And I think that's the key thing to take away is it's. Some things you'll find are going to be harder than others, but it is all doable. There'll be frustration, but there'll also be some fabulous outputs. So believe in yourself, and you'll definitely be able to do it.
Love that, Iain. And that is one of Anelia's projects, which she made for us. So yeah, and it's, I think, almost always when I ask that question about the Fine Diploma, when I ask the Silver Diploma, it's always a different answer. Everyone has a different favourite week. The Fine Diploma, it's almost always that clustering, because it comes at term 3. And I think it just brings together loads of skills. And it's like you said, you look at it and you think, that's a lot of stones, there's a lot going on. But actually, by the time you get there, you've done all the elements separately. So it's just about bringing it all together, and it's really rewarding once you've kind of got it. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Brilliant. And Anelia, what's your favourite project from the Advanced Diploma?
Still have a few. I would mention the eternity ring that students are setting. It's a purely setting project, and it just shows you how much adding the stones to a very simple band, it just creates an amazing impression and incredible design. Obviously, you have to, with settings, it's rarely that you can get it from the first time because it's just a very technical thing and you have to practice it a little bit. It's a lot to do with marking your metal, with drilling it nice and straight, even spacings. So it does take a bit of practice. But even in the beginning, when you're just learning it, still, when once you put the ring together, once you set the stones, it looks amazing. And it's very simple design, but yet it's very elegant. And I think it's a amazing project that, knowing how to do, you can create so many designs with it, right? So that's one. I really like the brooch project, the mixed media. Completely not my field, but maybe that's why I'm so drawn to it, because it's so exciting. Students, they just make how they interpret the project. Okay, so we have a brief, but it's mostly about what materials they would like you to use or incorporate certain techniques. But the rest of interpretation is completely up to students. So you have a lot of creative freedom to do that. And so the outcomes are unpredictable in a nice way. Absolutely stunning. And it's I find it's very, very inspiring. It looks like a fun project to me, but students, they put a lot of thought into it, so it becomes like a very conceptual piece, and it makes you look at the jewelry in a different way. And that just reminds you that not all jewelry is commercial. It doesn't have to be commercial. There are so many different directions that it can take, from some museum pieces. Obviously, no one is going to wear them every day, but it's like truly like work of art. Even though it's not from precious materials. So that's something else, like another area to explore, quite artistic side of, working at the bench. Like, why not? Yes, and I don't know if it's appropriate. I really like the kinetic.
It's definitely appropriate, Anelia. Yeah.
I know
this is Anelia's project. She's being shy about it, but it's amazing.
Yes, because I know it's very challenging. It's probably one of the most challenging projects on this course. But I think once you do it, you literally don't have fear to do any other piercing or any other soldering, like, ever, because and it is an amazing piece. Once you put it all together, it is great. And I think it just teaches you a little bit about planning, because it has a lot of different components. It has lots of different layers. It makes you to consider things beforehand. So it's all very interesting. Yes. And what was the second question?
What advice would you give to anyone joining the advanced diploma this year?
The advice I would say, just enjoy it. Remember that it's for someone who already has solid skills, because of course, even if you don't quite there yet, you'll have all the support and everything, but it is quite demanding. So you need to allow yourself to have time and energy to learn, because it's very intense. It's very technical. You'll need to have a lot more extra tools. You'll need to learn, for example, about gravers, about beading tools, creating the little granules, to shape little claws on your settings. So it's a lot to learn, but it's a fantastic course because it will expand your set of skills. And it's very important to stick to the timeline, because the whole year just goes so quickly. It goes so quickly. You will have enough time for everything, unless you leave it to the very last moment. It's perfectly structured. You don't need to stress over anything. You just have to keep going. Even if it's something that didn't work out, like Jess was saying before, just carry on. You can always come back later and finish it, or to improve it, because you do have access to all the courses later on. And I think that's a fantastic option to have. And for your final project, you also have extra time, so you have time to think and plan. And we start talking about it fairly early throughout the year. So for those of you who do need this design concept to kind of settle in your mind, to clear it, you'll have time for it, and you'll have all the advice available as well for that.
Absolutely. We're here to support you. Thank you, Anelia. Thank you guys all so much for coming and sharing a bit about the diploma programs. And hopefully everyone listening and anyone watching the recording, you've got a bit more of an idea of what you can expect from your mentors and who they might be like. We're very lucky to have them, and it's a very special kind of relationship that you develop over the course of the year. And we're also very lucky to be part of your journey. You know, I know that the mentors absolutely love what they're doing and seeing your growth and cheering you on and being part of it too. So all very exciting. And enrollment is open at the moment for all 3 of these diploma programs. It is going to be closing fairly soon. So if you're interested in joining, Anna, I think she has shared the links already in the chat, but you can also drop us an email anytime or just go onto the Jewellers Academy website and sign up. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. Lovely to hear from you all. Thank you for being incredible mentors as well. And those of you that are on a diploma at the moment, well done. Keep going. You're doing an awesome job. You're nearly 2/3 of the way there. Can you believe it? And hopefully we'll see you on another one next year. And yeah, just keep enjoying, and remember, just keep making. You know, that's how we get better. So letting go of the perfectionism, believe in yourself, keep making. Those were great messages from the mentors tonight. Thanks everyone for being here. We'll see you on another session soon, and take care. Bye for now.